Hey guys, in today's video I am going to be talking about my camera gear, what kind of lenses I use, and the tips I have for beginners. So if you're interested, how about we just hop on into this video, and don't forget to like and to subscribe to see more, I guess, behind the scenes of my photography business, more I guess posing ideas and making your sessions more, I guess, fun, I guess you can say. But let's hop into the video. So I first started my business in 2016 when we were back at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I've always been into photography since I can remember. I started with a super like old point and shoot camera from Nikon, and then I went to Canon, then went back to Nikon, and then I started taking classes in high school, which I really loved. I feel like that's something that I've always been interested in. And then many of you know I actually went to cosmetology school, and when I moved down with Michael in Kentucky, I just I guess kind of fell out of love with it, just because stuff was going on with my school and they ended up shutting down, and it was just a big whole crazy idea. But yeah, I just decided to start my own business, and I don't regret it at all. It's been a struggle. It's been, you know, hard work, a lots of like trial and error as well. But I thought I would go into my camera, since that is one of the questions, and I shoot with a Nikon D750, and this is a full frame camera. I am absolutely in love with it, and this is an external battery pack, which I highly recommend, especially for like weddings and everything like that. So then you never run out of batteries. Another question is, what camera do I think is best for beginners, or what camera is best for beginners? And sorry if I'm looking behind the camera, I have a little whiteboard of the questions and some of my answers, just because I don't want to go all crazy and go all over the place, which I know I will anyways. But I started off with a Nikon D3400, and that is a crop sensor. I really loved it. I actually used it for the first 3 years of my business, and I just sold it before we got to Alaska, which made me really sad because that was my first baby. I feel like when it comes to cameras, you need to physically go into Best Buy and get your hands on something, because, you know, there's different kinds. There's crop sensors, there's mirrorless, there's full frames, there's film, there's you know, different brands. So I feel like you need to do your research on YouTube, go put your hands on a camera at Best Buy, and just get the feel of it and see if you can kind of understand the settings, or if you feel like it's easier for you. The next question is what lenses and why. So I'm kind of gonna go over everything in my bag, what equipment I have. So my first lens is on my camera, and that is the 24-70 2.8. This is great for weddings. It allows you to capture, you know, a variety of shots without changing your lenses, because who wants to be changing their lens during like the first kiss of the bride and groom? Because you don't want to miss that shot, and that would just be a hot mess. So the next lens I have is a Sigma Art 35mm 1.4. This is great for tight spaces like Fresh 48s and bursts and studio. And I love it. That was my favorite camera before I started using the next one. I usually use this one for homecomings as well, which I will get in another question. But this is also my favorite lens by far, because I love the bokeh it creates. It's the Nikon 85mm 1.8. This is great for portraits, so I use it mainly with my couples and everything like that, or portraits of like kids and everything, and for wedding photography as well. I also have this baby. It's my GoPro. Well, actually it's Michael's, but I use it especially when it comes to homecomings where I'm actually shooting a video too. So I will get mostly video of them waiting and everything on my camera, and then once it's go time, because I still want to be able to take pictures, I will just turn this baby on and let it capture the moment as well. I also have 2 flashes, which are great for weddings and everything. I'm actually saving up for a couple different ones, which I can connect to my speed lights and everything, because that's another question about my lighting. I got it off of Groupon, and I'm not actually a fan of it. I will put a picture or a video of it over, but I don't know, I'm not really a fan of it. I can't really change the settings on the light on how bright or how dim I need to have it. The next question is, what do you like most about your camera? And I love that it is great in low light scenarios, like receptions at weddings, church ceremonies, everything like that. But I also love that it has a dual memory card holder, just in case, you know, one does not work or one corrupts. You can always have the data go on the second one as well. Or say, God forbid, you forget one and you still have a second one in there, then you're not totally stuck. What editing software do you use? And I use Lightroom and Photoshop, just because I feel like it is best to be skilled in both. It took me forever to learn Photoshop, and I still get frustrated with it at times, but some things you can do so well in Photoshop and you can't really, you know, do it that good in Lightroom. Like Clone Tool, that's a big thing. But for some reason in Lightroom, it's a hot mess and it doesn't work how it's supposed to. The next question is my favorite lenses for homecoming, and that's when my 35mm comes in. I love it. That's what I've basically been using until I got my 24-70. And depending on where I'm at, I will use my 85, but strictly either my 35 or my 24-70. Just because with my 24-70, because it is a zoom lens, I can still capture the soldiers walking through the doors, or how was it, Fort Carson and everything like that. But for my 35, I mainly use it for portraits and I guess, yeah, just portraits and everything at the beginning, them waiting, and sometimes I'll switch it over at the end, but not really anymore, but yeah. The next question is how to work in different lighting. That's again when settings come into play. That's when you need to learn how to work your settings, or else it's just not gonna work. Because you don't want an overexposed picture, you don't want a super underexposed picture, you don't want your ISO to be crazy high and then you'll get grain when you don't really need it that high. But just learn your settings and that will help you wonders. And learn the time of day too. So for moody, well, I typically, I love moody. That's what I shoot mainly. But I love gloomy days. I pray that my client doesn't want to reschedule if it's like cloudy and kind of like looks like it's going to rain outside, just because then you don't have harsh lighting. You don't have to worry about their sun being in their face or anything like that. But when it comes to shooting at like 12, I would suggest like finding a shaded area, just because you don't want that blotchy sunspots like on their face and their back in the background, and you don't really want, you know, an overexposed sky as well. But I typically love to shoot during golden hour, so about an hour before sunsets. It's my favorite. Just the golden rays of the sunset is like, oh, perfect with a bokeh, and it's just it's dreamy. The next question is best lens for weddings, and I feel like you need a little bit of everything. So I would suggest, you know, a couple good primes, like an 85 or a 35 or a 50, and then your zoom lens, like a 24-70, a 70-200, 70-300, and then of course like a macro 105mm lens for like ring shots and detail shots and stuff like that, which I'm saving up for. I don't know, I love the idea of 105 just in my collection. So hopefully when I move back home, I can book more weddings, but it's kind of crazy, you know, living somewhere so far away from home and traveling and everything like that. But I still love it. I will still do it if, you know, if you want to hit me up, if you need a photographer for your wedding. But honestly, and then it's also really nice to make sure you have a backup camera as well, because you don't want, you know, an error to pop up on your screen of your camera and then freak out because you don't have a second shooter, you don't have, you know, another camera to shoot on. You always want to have a backup just in case something happens. What are some tips for beginners? Do your research. Learn or know that it's not easy. It's not like what everybody thinks it is. It's not just pointing the camera and shooting. Like there's so much more you need to learn, like ISO, shutter speed, aperture, let's see, just the different settings, the background, the posing. Say if you have a person standing still, your shutter speed needs to be a little bit lower than someone who is running like kids. Your shutter speed needs to be a lot higher. But even just training your eye to see, you know, mistakes like you don't need to happen. Always check wrist for weddings, for couples and everything, because 9 times out of 10 the female will have a ponytail around the wrist, or when it comes to guys and photo shoots, their phone or keys might be in their front pocket, so either ask them to remove it or put it in their back pocket. But maybe I will do a whole video on that and posing. So let me know in the comments below if you would love to see like either like an edit with me video or behind the scenes, like how I pose my clients, how I prompt them, stuff to have fun during the photo shoot, stuff to make them kind of let loose and feel more comfortable, because no one wants to have pictures like where they look like robots or that they don't look like they're having fun. Because that's like the one thing I strive for, is to have fun during a photo shoot and make the clients so like super excited to see their images, and to make sure it's natural. It's not like super staged, but it doesn't look like it's like super awkward, because you don't want that. Lenses for sessions is my next question. I think it's the last one too. I really love my 85mm for my couples. That's probably like my favorite one. And when it comes to my families, I will use my 24-70, just because, you know, if the kids are running around, I can zoom in my lens to capture the one kid, the whole scenery and everything like that. But I think that's it. My voice is really dry. I feel like I've been talking for like a mile, like a bajillion miles an hour. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, let me know down below if you have any more questions. I will leave my personal Instagram page and my photography Instagram page, so please go check them out, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.